Hey everyone, it's GoRule915 here, and I'm back with another video. Today I'll be predicting the winners of every major NFL award, the individual ones, and also just the ones decided by the Associated Press, not the Pro Football Writers of America ones, because no one seems to really care about those. Anyways, let's just jump in. Okay, we're going to start with the new award, the Protector of the Year award. It's coming into effect this year, so this will be the first year we get to see a winner. It's probably the hardest to project because there's so many elite offensive linemen around the NFL, not to mention that this award relies on the eye test more than any other award because it's easy to look at a QB stats and be like, wow, this guy threw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. It's easy to digest that and be impressed, but it's hard to get to that same level with pass block win rate or run block win rate. Either way, though, my pick is Lane Johnson. He finished 2024 with an 88.9 PFF grade. He was fifth in both pass block. Wow, damn. He was fifth in both pass block win rate and run block win rate. 94% pass block and an 8% run block win rate. And he's the only tackle to finish top 10 in both. He was named a second team All Pro last year for the second year in a row. And while he will be 35, and I know players tend to slow down while they get to their mid 30s, some of them in their early 30s, when offensive tackles, it's a different case for offensive tackles, especially when they play at this high level. They tend to play high quality football well into their mid to late 30s. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and wins this award. Next is Comeback Player of the Year, probably the most overlooked award since it doesn't necessarily always highlight good play, but instead sometimes it just focuses on the resilience in the face of injury or other factors. Still, playing good increases your chances. I mean, outside of the years where Alex Smith and DeMar Hamlin won it because the things they overcame were so incredible, it didn't really matter how well they played. This year, I think almost certainly have an impact. So, with that being said, my pick is Trevor Lawrence. I discussed it in my division winners video, but I'm anticipating a big year from Lawrence, like MVP conversation. Maybe not top 3, but at least like top 7 in the MVP voting. This type of year I'm expecting from him, and that paired with the shoulder injury he suffered last year should make him in the front running for Comeback Player of the Year. I know Lawrence has yet to have a truly great season, and a lot of that is due to injuries, but this could finally be the year where we get to see him build off of what he did in 2022, at least the latter half of 2022, where he just went on a tear and led the Jaguars to the playoffs. Now we're getting into the more major stuff, and we're moving on to Defensive Rookie of the Year. Outside of 22, when Sauce Gardner won it, this award has been completely dominated by pass rushers so far in the 20s. Will that trend continue, or will another defensive back or maybe even a middle linebacker take the crown? My opinion, Abdul Carter takes it. He has everything, or at least almost everything you want out of a rookie edge. He has college production, athleticism, power, and even if he doesn't have like a complete set of pass rush moves, his raw power and explosiveness will get him the production he needs to win the award, or at least be in the running for it. While pass rush is really all anyone cares about when it comes to edges. At least that's the way it seems. He is also a great run defender. At least he was in college, so that means his impact won't just be limited to passing plays. He should still have a big impact on these run plays. Now we're on to Offensive Rookie of the Year, and this has seen more variety than Defensive Rookie of the Year has. We've seen about an even split between quarterback and wide receiver throughout the 20s. We haven't seen a running back win it since Saquon back in 2018, but that could change this year with the likes of Genty and Amarian Hampton and Cam Scadabo, but not in my opinion. I think Emeka Egbuka is going to win it. I know Cam Ward and Ashton Genty are a lot of people's picks, but they're coming into really rough situations as rookies. I mean, the Titans are far from being a contending team, and we saw how much Ashton Genty struggled in that first preseason game behind that really bad O-line. And then you have Egbuka, who has a top 10 QB thrown to him, 2 other wide receivers that are like at worst top 30 and top 15 in the league, and not to mention a solid tight end and a young running back that can catch out of the backfield. So all that to say, it's not like defenses are going to key in on Egbuka, or they really can't key in on Egbuka, because if he starts going crazy, yeah, you can key in on him, you can double him, but guess what? Now you got to worry about Mike Evans being open, Chris Godwin being open, even Cade Otton, or not having enough guys watching Bucky Irvin out of the backfield. So before you know it, Egbuka's open again because they had to go focus on someone else. I think he'll get that production. I think he'll have that year that gets him OROY. Now we're getting to the really big dogs. Defensive Player of the Year. It's been pass rushers throughout the 2020s besides Pat Surtain last year. So will another cornerback or even Pat Surtain again win it, or will this be a year where some edge or outside linebacker gets 18 plus sacks and runs away with it? My pick is Myles Garrett. He's been a perennial All-Pro. He's constantly hovered around 15 sacks a year throughout the 2020s, and he even won the award back in the 2023-24 season. And while Mason Graham is still a developing pass rusher, his strength alone could push the pocket and open things up for Myles Garrett to have his biggest year yet. I know team success, or really lack thereof, because the Browns aren't expected to do much this year, that could drag down his case, but at the same time, he did finish third in Defensive Player of the Year voting last year, and the Browns went 3-14. So it's not like it has as much influence as it does for, say, an MVP case. All right, on to the second to last award of the video. This is Offensive Player of the Year. Seen a little bit more variety than Defensive Player of the Year. It's been consistently trading off between wide receivers and running backs throughout the decade so far. It's another award like Offensive Rookie of the Year that tight end has never won. Any tight end has never won. And that's really surprising because, since 2000 alone, we've had legends like Antonio Gates, Rob Gronkowski, Tony Gonzalez, not to mention even Hall of Fame caliber guys right now like George Kittle and Travis Kelce. And, well, it's too early to say Brock Bowers, but if he continues at the pace he's going, Brock Bowers. And none of these guys ever won this award, which is really surprising because a lot of these guys are legends, Hall of Famers even. Even more surprising, though, at least in my opinion, is the fact that wide receivers, since its inception back in 1972, they've only won it 5 times. And 3 of those were in the last 6 years. Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Michael Thomas. And the other 2 times were Jerry Rice twice, which, of course, it is Jerry Rice. Well, I think another wide receiver will join that exclusive club, and I'm taking Jamar Chase to win Offensive Player of the Year. Would have won it last year, given he was a Triple Crown winner and all, but then Barkley went out and decided to have one of the best years for running back ever. So, of course, Chase didn't win it. Chase, he's 25, and ideally, he hasn't hit his real peak yet. He's only going to improve from here. Ideally, I might as well knock on wood because I don't want to fucking jinx him. Not to mention he's in a pretty ideal spot with such a loaded offense. Defenses can't afford to go all out and stop him with T on the other side and Gesicki in the slot, and even Chase Brown out the backfield, who proved he was, a good receiving threat for a running back. I know I said Gesicki in the slot. I know he's a tight end, but he does play more like a slot receiver. That being said, I did see somewhere that Chase, despite all that, still gets or sees the most bracket coverage in the league. So maybe it's not like all easy runnings, but I think he definitely does at least benefit a little bit from being in a loaded offense. Alternatively, he could win the Triple Crown again this year and then somehow get cucked by Barkley 2 years in a row, which would be extremely frustrating. All right, now we're on to the award, the main event, Most Valuable Player, MVP. Feels like somebody between the consensus top 4 QBs, Lamar, Josh, Burrow, Mahomes. I could see Daniels eventually break into the conversation, but I don't think it's going to be this year. I'm kind of anticipating a sophomore slump. I don't know why. It's just kind of like a gut feeling. I feel like he's just going to regress this year and then get right back on track in year 3. So, who will win it this year? Will Burrow complete this little cycle we've had going on because Mahomes won in 22 and then Lamar in 23 and then Allen in 24? Will he complete this little cycle and get his first? Will Josh Allen go back-to-back? Will Lamar win MV3? My pick is Patrick Mahomes. I know he's been lackluster these last few years, at least in terms of what we've come to expect from him, because, he did break the touchdown record, or did he break it or just come close? I think he just came close. Anyways, he had 50 touchdowns. I know that. He had at least 50 touchdowns. So we've come to expect a lot from him, and these last couple years have kind of been down years. And a lot of that is on Matt Nagy, because, again, Matt Nagy kind of sucks. But I believe we're in it for a huge year from Patrick Mahomes. Like a revenge tour type season. He got blown out in the Super Bowl. National media started treating him like a liability to the dynasty rather than the driver of it. And the fan perspective on him has shifted drastically from favorable to despise, which is usually what comes with winning. I just feel like he's about to have a huge year just to shut everyone up. Just like how Tom Brady came out in 2020. I was about to say 2022. 2020 with the Bucks after people were saying he was just like a product of Belichick when he left the Patriots. So I'm anticipating a huge year from Patrick Mahomes, an MVP winning year. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed. I do like doing these prediction videos, even though these will all probably age terribly. I mean, I felt pretty confident about the division winners one. This one I feel less confident about because it just feels like every year we have at least 1 or 2 guys that just come in out of nowhere and take the league by storm. Not to mention 1 or 2 guys that fall off out of nowhere. So this will probably age terribly. Maybe one of these guys aren't even in the running for one of these conversations. But it's just for fun anyway. It's not like someone has a gun to my head saying, oh, you better get these right. Nah, that's not happening.